I was sitting one morning just holding her hand, and in a moment of clarity, I see her eyes focus. She looked at me and said, "You need to shave." And I just get a kick out of that. We probably all remember her friendly and engaging personality. She enjoyed people, and she enjoyed conversation. And I can only imagine 10 years of backlogged words of Eleanor Nordlund up there in heaven, catching up with everyone that she hasn't spoken to for these last 10 years. I was happy that Mom and Dad were able to do so much traveling. You saw that in the pictures preceding the program here today. And it was actually when they were in Miami, about to go on a Miami to Los Angeles cruise through the Panama Canal, that she had her initial stroke. But I bet that before that, in some of those times when they were in foreign countries, as they were traveling around, Mom was having a friendly, engaging conversation with someone who might not have even spoken English. We all have stories that we could tell, but what I have is an imprint. She put her stamp on me, and not just because of my name, not just because of my brown eyes, not because of, well, lots of other things. The value of the imprint my mom had on me became more clear about a week ago when I heard from my daughter Samantha, and she was talking about how so many of the people she's meeting in college have challenging backgrounds, messed up people, and opposite to that, contrary to that, in words that we use in our family, being the son of Eleanor Nordlund set me up for success. When I look at the listing of the fruit of the Spirit in Galatians, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control, I see that my mom tried to live that out. I observed that those behaviors could realistically be pursued. You could come very close to making them real. It's a big advantage in life when your mom is pursuing those characteristics. She modeled unconditional love by the way we always knew home and our parents were a safe and strong place to go to and to launch our lives from. We did our best because we wanted to make her happy, not because we were afraid of her. She demonstrated faithfulness in serving her family with all that driving. You heard some of it from Renee, and it's really true. To Tacoma Church, Des Moines Church, Covenant Beach, swimming lessons and pool trips, weekly piano lessons in Puyallup, doctor and orthodontist appointments in Tacoma, the famous library visits to Tacoma Public Library, and innumerable baseball, softball, soccer practices and games. And she faithfully served others in the church planting that Mom and Dad invested themselves in, Lake Bay Covenant, Federal Way Covenant, and the newer Kent Church that they helped with just in the last few years. And she was kind to excess. I remember Randy being upset once when he found out that Mom was intentionally losing at board games. She was being kind to him. And she also instituted the family tradition of non-birthday gifts, an amazing concept, because she didn't want anyone in our family to be sad that they weren't the one receiving birthday gifts. My friends all thought this was the strangest tradition. You got what? Why? But we certainly enjoyed it. It's amazing that well, that was just fun. And she modeled self-control because even when she was upset, the strongest language I ever heard her use when she was mad at my dad and simply said,
"Oh, Lester."
"Oh, Lester." The only time I can ever remember her letting loose was a crazy French card game we played when we were out camping called Mille Born. And she would love to slam down the wild card in the game and yell out,
"Coupe Foray."
"Coupe Foray!" I grew to hate that game. And I also watched her generosity and hospitality modeled, and learned that you can give away and still have a lot. We saw so many missionaries stay in our home. It became a very common theme, very comfortable to know that This is what real people do, and to hear their stories firsthand. One night in high school, I came back a day early from a mountain climb in which we'd been rained off the mountain, and Mom had to tell me that I need to sleep on the couch because some missionaries had come in town and they were in my bed. And I still remember that on 2 different occasions when I had moved out of the house, some old friends had stopped by our house to say hello, and Mom had not only invited them in, she gave them a meal and talked them into staying overnight. And they stayed overnight. That was just the way she operated. She was so inviting and generous. And finally, I learned that success in life is built on doing the small things right. You demonstrate love by being somewhere and exercising the simple social graces of saying please and thank you. You practice gentleness as a man by humbling yourself to take care of the women in your life by opening a car door for them. I remember the first few times she was out in the car teaching me how to drive, and the first time in my life I've got the car keys and I go to the driver's door and she's just standing there by the passenger door, because the first thing is you let the woman in the car. And it's just, you just practice the small things. You get a lot of practice in self-control by what you don't say. You practice right and wrong by putting your napkin on your lap, keeping your elbows off the table, putting the fork on the left, knife and spoon on the right, and learning things like a healthy lifestyle is not an overwhelming project. It's built on small things like getting a good night's sleep the day before a big day and eating a balanced diet. And that building a family takes time. You start by doing the simple things like regularly having meals together and celebrating your own traditions, even if sometimes they are a bit odd, like the non-birthday gifts. As I look back, I see how my mom was raised faithfully and lovingly by her parents. I was raised faithfully and lovingly by my parents. And I'm trying to do that now with my kids, passing the torch. And I encourage you likewise to pursue the fruit of the Spirit and do the little things well, so those around you and those who look up to you will be set up for success. I'm fortunate to be the son of Eleanor Nordlund.